We are live on a dose of reality, and we have my boy Ken the Messenger in the building.
I'm feeling like Justin. I gave me a Haley on her, I'm still crushing. And ain't no discussion. That shit worth the drinking and shit on my cousin. And forgiving my cousins. Just keep it 100, them drugs have me mellow. No prejudice to devil. I'm speaking the gospel, but still from the ghetto. Yeah. I just keep speaking the facts. Yeah. Got my people on my back. Yeah. I know that favor ain't fair. Yeah. Can't compare man to that. Yeah. And I tried to sell dope, but my plug never came through. And my mama ain't have a job. I started selling Kelly at school.
How are you
What's up,
doing,
y'all?
brother?
What's
How y'all
going on,
feeling?
man?
I'm good, man. How y'all doing? Y'all good?
We're good. We good. We're
Good, bro.
good. So, I just wanna start off by saying, like, how have you been, like, just in the last couple months, last couple weeks? How have you been? How have your mental state been? How have you been, like, as an
Yeah,
artist, as a person? What's been
yeah.
going on?
Man, to be real with y'all, this year, I said this on the last interview I did. It's like this year's been weird to me.
Mhm.
Have y'all felt that? Like
Yeah.
Absolutely.
you had plans, everybody just like mentally, not unstable, but just mentally shocked by just like certain things of life. Like a couple days ago, we walked outside, we couldn't breathe. It
Mhm.
was smoke in the air, and the
Yeah.
gas is $15, and eggs was 25. So it's like life is happening, as a man, but also, you know, as an artist, it's just like getting back into the groove from the pandemic. A lot of artists hasn't even healed from the pandemic, especially us
Absolutely.
that's trying to go. So it's just, man, I'm just adjusting, bro.
So what was that like being an artist at during the pandemic? Like, were you actively dropping music? Were you just kind of
hmm
sitting there and stockpiling what you wanted to do? Or were you like, okay, I'm just gonna take this break, maybe get some inspiration and then get back to it once the world opens back up?
Yeah. So the first half, I did that. I stayed at home, recorded, um, on my phone, and I just was making ideas. Second half, I actually was shooting videos and actually putting out music and things like that. And so, that's pretty much what I did the pandemic, and just grew as a man. Certain things happen, man, as in life. And I'll be 25. I'm 25 technically.
Mhm.
Um,
When's your
and so
birthday?
Friday.
Oh,
Oh,
So
happy birthday.
yeah.
thank you,
Happy,
man.
Happy
happy early
Appreciate it.
birthday.
birthday, man.
Appreciate it. And so when the pandemic came, I was like 20,
Mhm.
21, I don't know, 21, 22. But I still got a lot of growing to do. But I still
Absolutely.
had, like, at that point, I still had a lot of growing to do, especially just as an artist, not even as a man. I didn't even touch my man, just as an artist. And so, like, different ideas, different melodies, because we got handicapped.
Mhm.
I can usually just go with my producer and we can make something. But he's like, put a mask on. I'm like, I'm not putting a mask on. I'll go on YouTube and send you an
For sure.
idea. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And so it's
Exactly.
like I just had to grow as an artist to know, like, no matter what happens in the world, you have to be consistent, and find a way to talk about it.
Absolutely. I think that because I was actively pursuing music during that time, and it was really weird. One, to get inspiration was kind of weird,
hmm
just not being around people and kind of doing my own thing. But I think the biggest thing was like I make collaborative music.
Yeah,
I'm when I'm in the studio, it's usually a decent amount of people there. People are giving me ideas. It's a collaborative effort. So
yeah,
like being more by myself and really just me and my producer at the time, locking in, I knew that was very difficult, and
yeah,
it was almost hard to paint that little picture of what I was going through in that time.
yeah. Absolutely,
Did you find
absolutely.
anything positive from the lockdown? Just from like, because maybe you were able to focus more on putting things on social media and
hmm
putting things on YouTube and kind of getting that stuff out there. Or were you doing that before then?
I was doing that before then,
Okay.
way more. I had way more shows before the pandemic. But I take that what I said a couple minutes ago about me not growing as a man. I actually did. I moved out on my own, got my own spot, maybe like 30, 40 minutes away from my family, um, which was like a big thing, right? Like you grow up with your people and then you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? So that was a big thing that I experienced at that time. But as an artist, I was doing a lot of stuff before, so really it slowed down at
Okay.
the pandemic, and
Mhm.
now we're just trying to
Yeah.
get
Get
back
back
that
to it.
momentum or
Right.
better.
So did you do any sort of like virtual performances or anything like that?
Absolutely. I did a graduation performance, and then I did my own like listening party virtually.
That's so
Nice.
dope. I did one kind of virtual performance type thing. A friend of mine is a DJ, and he used to DJ. He was DJing at his house and kind of live streaming it on Twitch.
Mhm.
And he would have maybe 5 to 10 people there, but he would do that until he was like, "Hey, do you want to come and
Mhm.
like get on my stream and do a performance?" I think I did like 5, 6 songs. It was really cool. It was
Yeah.
different experience because of course like I'm used to having the crowd there doing that
Yeah.
crowd work type of
Absolutely.
deal. So
Absolutely.
it was more of like, okay, I have to like plan out every song and kind of how I'm gonna intro into it
Yeah.
and make the connection. So I
Yeah.
thought that was like it was cool, but it was very challenging.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Did you
Absolutely.
did you kind of like run into those same sort of things or like did you feel like it was a bit more smooth?
No, it definitely was challenging.
Mhm.
The graduation I did, was really, really weird. I was in the studio. I don't know. That was crazy. It was weird. Then I did another one at a church, but I had a band, so it was still kind of like
Yeah, you got
it
people
was like
there.
rehearsal. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like I'm a
Absolutely.
rehearsal. So it's like that type of thing. But it's always I'm a entertain. I love performing, entertaining. That's
Mhm.
my like. I can do that all day, all night. You know what I'm saying? So it's easier for me to have a crowd versus not. Versus some artists I know rather it be virtual, believe
Mhm.
it or not, because they
That's
don't really
crazy.
like they're trying to
Yeah.
get used to the crowd. But I'm like, I'm used to it. So like give me the crowd.
Do you think that you're you have more fun or more passion or feel more fulfilled being on stage rather than being in the studio creating?
Absolutely.
Okay. Because I
Absolutely.
would always say that before I did shows regularly, I loved like the process of making a music in the
Hmm.
studio, which is like the pinnacle.
Yeah.
And then I remember just having my first real successful performance and being like, "Oh, this is it."
Yeah.
Actually, I think Alfred was there for for that.
Yeah.
I want to say that he was there for like one of my first like really really good performances and like it's just I don't know, being in front of that crowd and you hear your music and you're doing your thing and you're
Yeah.
really feeling it and I don't know if there's like many better feelings than that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially when it's a song that people relate to. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? A lot of times us as artists, we come from a place of um this is my hearts, and there's an old saying that says what comes from the heart goes to the heart.
Mhm.
And so when you out there and you remember when you was crying writing that record or you was happy writing that record and then you go out there and performing it and don't let them know your lyrics.
Mhm.
Oh my God, you bound to I don't know, forget your own lyrics, just watching them, you know what I'm saying? And so
Exactly.
it's like that. That's another level of excitement, especially when I do a lot of shows, like we do a lot of shows where people don't know our music, you know, but at the end of the night, like they're going crazy, they're like in it because we have to. One thing as an artist you have to realize is like there's always a way.
Mhm.
One thing as an artist you have to realize is there's one thing as an artist you have to realize there's always a way. You know what I'm saying? You go to um like a venue, like they may not know your music, and that's okay. Like the pride of artists want to be like, oh, they know me, or they'll my people will show up. But reality, a dose of reality says, no, they may not know your music. They may
Yeah.
not get with it. However, we can get it's the chance that we can get them with it. So what I do is I don't just play my music. If it's something similar, and I'm with like say uh if I do an R&B set and it's a bunch of African Americans and I do Need You, I'll do every little step I take. Like they love Bobby Brown. If I'm with a bunch of Caucasians, I'm doing When I See Your Face, like Don't Stop Believing. Like I
Yeah.
gotta intertwine the message with a medley that because I still
Mhm.
want you to have a good time and it's still
Exactly.
Right.
the same message. So
And I think that's where a lot of artists really fall short with their um performances is because they don't understand, hey, I have a different crowd.
yeah,
I kind of need to approach this in a different way. Yes,
yeah.
I can still be my genuine self, but I'm just going to present it in a way that is feasible for the people listening to
Hmm.
really understand and really feel with it and really flow with it.
It's the same message. You're just sending it different ways.
Mhm.
Like
Absolutely.
just like mail, I can email you, I can text you, I can write you, I can do anything, but you're gonna get the same message. And it's like that's what we do. We don't change the message. The message is still, I'm a screwed up dude that loved Jesus and he loved me too. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? Love me more. And I just put that in different ways. You know what I'm saying? So
I feel like comedy is the same way, going up on stage because you
yeah,
have to read the room.
yes,
And if you don't read the room,
you
you're getting
lost.
booed off stage. You know what I mean? And that's
Yeah,
the worst feeling in the world. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because you take pride in doing stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So I get that.
You know, that is crazy. I wanna like, how would I don't know if you have been booed off the stage,
Uh-huh.
but how do you think you would respond to that? 'Cause it's never
Mhm.
personally happened to me, but I've seen it happen, and, like, some people, like, panic, and others are like, "Oh, you know what? I'm gonna do what I gotta do." So how do you think you will respond to that?
So thank God it's never happened. However, when I'm on stage, it's like I don't care about the people.
Right.
Like I care about them. I hope they're having a good time. But this is like some this is therapeutic for me.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like they can smile. Like I've had shows where they were just looking still, and I'm just in there grooving. Like, hey, that's on you. But then other shows they going crazy, so I go crazy with them. So it's like you
Imma do my
know,
thing regardless.
yeah, like they paid me before I got here, so I'm
Exactly.
good.
I'm
Like
cool.
I got to do what I got to do, and even if they didn't, I'm still doing it to glorify God.
Mhm.
So as corny as that may sound, as you know, unrealistic as it may sound, you got to realize like before I get on the stage, God, you get the glory, and even if they don't like it, I still got to do it for you. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? It's like
There's a
Absolutely.
purpose.
yeah, it's
It's
like a job. Like you go
Mhm.
to work and you might get a bad customer if you work in customer service. Do you just leave work? No,
Nah.
you still got to do your job
Right.
Exactly.
because your boss is requiring something from you.
Right.
And so, yeah.
So, to piggyback off that, I've always thought, like, when an artist or with artists, it's like there's 2 types of people who make music, you know?
Mhm.
There's people who make music for themselves because it's therapeutic and it comes from the heart, and
Mhm.
then there's people that say, I understand this niche. I understand what these people like, and I'm just gonna make music that they like
Mhm.
because I wanna get somewhere in life. So I would guess you would feel like you're more of a person that makes music from the heart, and it just flows out of you. And if you connect, you connect. You know, would you say that's how you can?
People, and I make music for me. I've made music, all of it I can relate to, but sometimes when you're working with different writers or different producers, and they're like, "Hey, say this," or "No, don't say that, say this," you know. And let's say you may not agree with it, or like not even say you be like, "Oh yeah, that's cool," but that's really not what I was gonna say. That's like making music for people, you know. Or if you know that this is a great line, but you know that's really not who you are. Like a lot of artists do that. Absolutely. However, I think the true artist or the true connection comes when you dig deep, and that's why you see a lot of stars like drop because they hit a certain point where they were making whatever the other people were writing, you know, and then when they started to say, "No, I'm gonna do my way, and I'm gonna come and I'm gonna cut my hair off, or I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna start over." They drop because now they're being real to who they are, and so the masses don't really like it. You know what I'm saying? That's why you have certain rappers who's just super big. And then you have those conscious rappers who saying the same thing, just they're not saying it to a pop beat, or they aren't talking about drugs, women, twerking, sex. They just talking about real things. Yeah. And it's just like it's not as popular. And I just think that in this day and age, we live in this kind of microwave popcorn type of like life where everything is just whatever's popping, whatever's like hot, whatever's fast, whatever's quick. People are gonna kind of gravitate to that because their attention span may be so short or whatever the case may be. And instead of gravitating towards the music that actually has some sort of substance, and you have to sit down and you have to break down what this person is saying and understand where they're coming from to really enjoy it. Most people are just not willing or not able to do that, you know? Yeah. And it's like, if it has a good beat, hey, it's fire. And it's like, nah, but this man just said nothing for 3.5 minutes. And I listened to him say nothing. Yeah. Like, I mean, he said, 1, 2, buckle my shoe, basically. And now we're sitting here like, yo, that's fire. Yo, he's the GOAT. That's the next one. Like, really? Oh, okay. Well, I guess our standards just slowly just continues to drop and drop. Like, even back in the day, I mean, you couldn't sound like another rapper. You couldn't sound like another artist. When you sounded like another artist, people clowned you for that.
And now, if you don't sound like the mainstream, people don't want to listen to you. The majority don't want to listen to you, and it's crazy because it's like, what are you really saying? What are you actually adding to the music that like takes it to the next level? What are you doing? What are you like? Even beats have become more simplistic over time. Yeah. Where it's like back in the day, they would sit there and craft something beautiful for an artist. They would say, "Hey, I know that you like to rap this way. I'm gonna craft a beat that's just perfectly for you that nobody else can rap on like you can rap on." And nowadays, it's just kind of like, oh well, you know what? We'll put a little sample on it. If it has some bass, boom, it goes. And I think that we need more artists like you that are putting real effort and real heart and real substance into the music. Appreciate that, bro. Absolutely. Appreciate that.
Yeah, in this lifetime, it's all about instant gratification. Everybody just wants things now. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like the social media, our cell phones, our computers. It's like everybody's on there watching this stuff, watching the music, watching whatever. Yeah. And it's almost like a double-edged sword because that's the ticket, but then at the same time, that's the digression because they are just going to swipe and they are just going to go. And if they don't like the first 2 seconds of it, they're going to swipe. And I feel like we're all guilty of that. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just first impression. You know what I mean? So it's definitely crazy that that it's continuing to be like that. It's almost like we're just kind of sitting stagnant. You know what I mean? As a society.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. So I wanted to backtrack, rewind, and ask you about when was like the first time that you were like, I want to start making some sort of music, and then how did you progress from childhood to where you are now as an artist?
So it started really weird. To be honest with you, so me and my younger brother, we would he's a singer, so he would always sing. This was maybe I'm in 4th grade at the time, and so I'm thinking I want him to sound like this. Like he's singing. I'll never forget one time he was singing Michael Jackson, "I Want to Rock with You." Mm-hmm. And he was like, "I want to rock with you all night." I said, "No, it's a break. I want to rock with you all night." He didn't get it right, and I used to hit him when he didn't get it right. Like every time he didn't do it, I used to hit him, and to the point he's like, "I don't want to do it." I'm like, "No, you're gonna do it. You're gonna do it right.
You're gonna do it right."
Like I'm like Joe Jackson in that mug, you know what I'm saying? And so that was younger, but then we just progressed, man. And I remember I used to do poetry in high school, spoken word, make for challenge, and things like that. And then I just figured, like, in 2017, I made a worship song where I wrote a worship song called Dear God. And I went to school for music business at SAE Institute. Mm-hmm. And so I got signed to a group, BMG. And then I just started doing my own thing in like 2019. We've been doing it since 2019.
So yeah, man, I was in BMG. BMG was a great experience for me. You know, I got some lifelong brothers from that group, and
Mm-hmm.
man, it was just a great experience. I went solo in 2019, I
Okay.
believe, between 18 and 19, and I've been doing it ever since, bro.
So, getting back to BMG, what was like the basis of the group, and like what would you say was like the genre that you all
hmm
were doing, and why did you ultimately go solo and take your career solo?
Yeah. So BMG was like an inspirational gospel group,
Mm-hmm.
um, hip hop. And so, like the luxury of it was, or I would say the blessing of it is, we got a chance to go to the Stellar Awards and
Okay.
walk the red
Oh
carpet
wow.
Oh
and
wow.
do the radio tour,
Mm-hmm.
and got signed to E1 Entertainment One for
Mm-hmm.
distro. And so it was a beautiful thing to perform and open up for like certain type of legends, and we did like 5 shows in Vegas, and so it was really good to travel and just be able to do it. But ultimately, I just felt like God was telling me, like, I think it's time for you to bail out. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? I think it's time for you to take some time and just go by yourself. It was very hard, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it was very hard because it's like I gotta step out on faith when I got everything here, and I felt like you set me up to be here, but I don't think I was living what I was supposed to do. At that time, I still had a lot of women issues, a lot of stuff as a man that I needed to deal with, and so sometimes when you're in the crowd, it's hard for you to deal with you. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And so ultimately, man, it was just like I had to do it, out of obedience, because it wasn't gonna work,
Yeah.
how God gets your attention, and you don't want him to do it too hard. So, you gotta, inevitably, you just gotta listen and just do what he wants you to do.
Right,
When
absolutely.
you're feeling that though, you have to take it because
Yeah.
you could always go back. I
Yes.
mean, there's a chance where you know what I mean because of the artist you are now. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean that the group is like, yeah, we'll have you back if that's
Mm-hmm.
what you really wanted to
Right,
do.
right,
So
right.
going solo, man. If
Right.
that's what you wanted to do, you had to do it like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
You know.
And the thing is, it really wasn't like I wanted to. It was
Right.
like I think I gotta do it. Like,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
and later on, everybody went their own ways. Everybody's really successful. I actually, we had a meeting yesterday. Well, not a meeting, but some people came in town, so we was at the embassy, turned the embassy
A
to a studio
reunion.
for a minute.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everybody's good. Everybody went their own ways. But everybody's making more like incredible music now. Like
Nice.
Absolutely.
like one of the guys in the group is working with some of the biggest artists in the world. Like other guys starting his own. Paris Black, and then J-So is starting his own thing where he's about to release a lot of good music, and so
Absolutely.
proud of him, man. Jaleel just released the album. He was actually on the song Tenderness that I let y'all hear earlier, and
Mhm.
so yeah, man, I'm proud of him. Everybody doing their thing.
And I think that's important because when you have a group, sometimes it's very easy if there's 4 LeBron Jameses, if it's LeBron and D Wade and Chris Bosh
Yeah,
and Ray Allen and everybody sitting there contributing and being adding to the success, then it's beautiful.
yeah.
But when it comes to that point where
Everybody got
it's
to be a star.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's like
Yeah,
at what point do we say, okay, either we're going to do this as a group
yeah,
and we're just going to say, hey, we're a group, we're putting the group first, and that's that. Or we're going to all have to go our separate ways.
yeah,
And Kyrie is just going to have to get his own team. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Brown is going, it just comes to that point. So it's like, I'm glad that it was able to be it was a thing where everybody broke ways and
yeah,
was able to be successful and still being cool and still being good.
yeah,
Because sometimes that ego
yeah.
really can come and
Absolutely,
ruin,
absolutely, bro.
certain things, and then you're sitting there. For example, I was a part of a collective and everything, and there was a point where it was just like, yeah, I'm not going to continue like not only being accountable, making everybody accountable because I have to hold myself accountable, but like we all have to look to each other. We can't one all of you all can't be looking at one person. It
Yeah,
has to be a situation where I can count on you and you can count on me. Not
absolutely.
just I can only count on you and we all can only count on you. So
Yeah,
it's just like it's so important that like when you do have that team, everybody comes in with the things of okay, we're gonna put our egos to the side
yeah,
for the good of what we have going on,
absolutely, bro.
And then when it's time, it's like, okay, let's go our separate ways.
Yeah,
And whenever it's a time where we need to come together or we want to collab or we want to do that, the lines of communication are always open
yeah,
because we did it the right way. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Ultimately, you just developed and matured, and so now like if I can call J-So, I wrote records with J-So, I wrote records with Paris. Jaleel was on some of my records. So like you said, it's cool when we got our own teams and we can just come together and say, yo, I need
Yeah.
your help, or
Mhm.
I'm here for if you need my help. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, it worked out, man. It worked out
Absolutely.
for sure.
So speaking of teams, even as a solo artist,
Hmm.
you know, you need a team. You need people to help you get from, where you are to where you want to be.
Absolutely.
So, can you talk about that? What are some of the who are some of the people on your team and, shout them out, give them some love. Like who
Yeah.
are those people?
Absolutely. So initially, I have Patrice Coakley
Mhm.
at the Baseline Group. Baseline I'm signed to. It's my label and that's my management company.
Okay.
I've been with Patrice since 2019, since I went solo. Patrice used to actually be my teacher
Mm.
in my college. She was working with Beyonce's dad and helped him out, and then a bunch of other artists. And I was just like, I want to work with you one day. In 2019, I got out of school and we made it happen. So Patrice and you got Ali Ajo with A Star Media. We just recently started working with them.
Mhm.
It's been amazing. That's why I'm here today. Shout out to Ali
Absolutely.
Ajo.
Shout out to
Um,
Asia. That's my brother.
yeah,
So good people as always.
yeah,
Asia's definitely in the building right now.
yeah. He's here.
Off camera, but absolutely no, for sure.
Yeah, and then I got like I literally like I got a lot of people, and I won't even say everybody, but I'll just say those two. But like my band, 10 people, like my brother Dre helps so much. Anthony, Christian. I don't want to start naming names 'cause I figure somebody ain't gonna get mad.
Right.
Then I'm gonna have to tell them like,
Absolutely.
come on, man,
You know
come
what
on.
it is.
It's a time
Exactly.
limit, But I got a lot of people that really support me and rock with me, and are a part of my team. I learned that early on because I'm really not. I'm an artist, but I'm like an ambivert, which means I can be an extrovert or introvert.
Mhm.
I don't need to be a star. You know what I'm saying? Like certain
Okay.
things in my career, I
Thank you.
realized at an early age, like I just don't want to be the star all the time. Like I cannot be a star, But as you get into it, it's like you got to be a star in order for you to be successful and take care of your people. So it's like, you know, I realized, certain things I just didn't want to do, or certain things it was just very hard for me to do. And so, having a successful artist is like a successful business.
Mhm.
And so you just realize, like, hey, I need you. You're very organized. I need you to help me with this. Or you're very connected. Like my music director, Tone. Tone is very connected. We can go to a show and say, "Hey, Tone, bass play out." Tone to say, "I got you." One coming down, count down the street with a bass and an amp. Like, who you playing for? I'm playing for you. "Oh, okay, what? Well, how,
Absolutely.
how you Tone? Okay, so it's like just having those aspects of it because I know what I need. I know I got to do a live, and I got to be good entertainment live. So like that's a big part. And so I got 15 people in the band that's gonna be there. So I just you know keeping all of them together in a loop, making sure rehearsals are done if they need to be done or whatever needs to be done. And so I just realized that early, bro. Like I need a team, especially people that are strong in my weaknesses.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I was gonna ask, how do you approach your music? How do you approach writing and just the whole thing, like your studio sessions? Are you
yeah.
more of a person that you go to the studio, you hear something, you go, or you write something, then say hit your producer and say, hey, like I have something,
hmm
I'm a rapper for you. Can you create something? Like, what is your
Yeah,
process?
so I've done all. I will go and say, "Hey, let's make something," and I will write after they cook. Um, I can hear something at the crib and call my producer and be like, "Hey, shout out to Steve Moats, Moats on the beat." I would call him and say, "Hey, I need you to remake this beat," and so he'll remake it, send it back, and then I write some on it. Or it just depends, honestly, how I'm feeling and how much time I got to do whatever I got to do. If it's a deadline, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna take it in my own hands. I'm gonna write some simultaneously as I'm writing, he gonna be in Phoenix creating it, and then I go to the studio tomorrow and just lay it down. That's kind of how Twins Prayer came out.
Mhm.
Um, he was on the phone one night, and I was just telling him about life. I'm like, bro, this is going on. And he's like, that's crazy. I'm like,
For my album, like I just want you to send me you playing keys. And so the next day, or maybe that morning, like it's like 10 o'clock at night, like 2 in the morning, he sent me this record. He was like, this the piece I want to go on your album. And I was like, I want to rap on this. Can I use this? And so like that's how that happened. So it just depends on like the situation and what's going on. Yeah.
Which way would you like prefer? If it's like everything's perfect, which would you rather like?
Create a studio.
Okay, yeah, I agree. I think that like that ability to just you're hearing a beat, you're hearing a beat being made, or there's somebody showing you a beat, and you're just like listening to it, and then you start writing, and I'm just like one of those whisperers, so I'm sitting there, getting my flow right, and so I always feel like that is like just the top way to just create.
Yeah, for sure.
How hard are the live instrument sessions, or like when you're performing live with the live instruments, or I don't know if you're like doing some of it in a studio or whatever. How hard is it to do that? Because everybody's got to be on point when you don't have everything recorded like previously.
Yeah. I've never done my own like
Okay.
everybody playing together. I've never done it myself.
Okay.
However,
Okay.
I was just a part of one. And so it seemed pretty easy. It seemed like they knew what they were doing. As far as the show, that's sweet. That's easy. Like
Yeah.
the worst can happen. Somebody's off or somebody's ears aren't working, so they can't hear. That's happened. But usually we don't really have a problem with because.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna say because usually they know the material already. If they prepared. So
Right.
it's just like let's just groove out.
Do you like that better, like the live instruments?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Patrice will tell you, they try to get me to cut my band down. I just can't do it.
I understand.
I can't do it.
Because you know what? You don't want to have a situation where you're like Biggie, your DJ's throwing up, so you start throwing water bottles at him, you know? Because DJs, oh my God, I love the DJs. Don't want to disparage DJs, but they are so sometimes particular. Some DJs only want flash drives. Some DJs only want to use your phone. Some of them you got to email, and you're sitting there and you're like, bro, like you are making this so difficult right now. So
and
like,
it's like depending on like the event. Like if I have to do a DJ, I'm fine with that. But if it's a place where I can get all my people in here, and I know I have to rock out, like some most events that I do, I have to prove myself,
right?
Because I'm the only inspirational artist on the ticket. So most events, I have to prove myself. I cannot come. Like, you can't have a guy who talking about nothing come up here with a full production, and then you want me to come and just be the Christian rapper. I wish I would.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely.
I'm coming up here and I'm turning just as hard, if not harder. And that's my mindset. I'm very competitive, and so when it comes to music, I don't short what I do for God. Just like if I was playing a game with you or we boxing, like I'm gonna give you all I got, and that's the same mentality I have when it comes to like my ministry. It's like I'm not gonna shortchange anything when it comes to ministry. If I can do it. If I gotta put my all into it, financially, emotionally, physically, that's what I gotta do. But I'm not gonna, just I think sometimes as a Christian, inspirational, whatever people call it, artist, you looked at like they expect you to come put a track on,
right?
Jesus Christ, I mean,
And you know what? I was gonna say that because I hate to say this, but there is not too many actually like good Christian or inspirational rappers, and I like rappers. I like rap. And so like that used to be a thing for me. There was a few, you had to look crazy. You had a few people, but like as far as just like normally when somebody say, yo, I'm a Christian rapper, it's just like they're just saying some scriptures and they just said it like kind of fast over a beat. And you're like, okay, like, I'm not going to say it's not good, but like, I'm also not enjoying this. And like, when you have those inspirational artists that just sit there and are so about making quality music, like obviously your goal is to gratify God, right? Yes. But when you can sit there and you're making quality music that I want to listen to, I just feel, and you're still doing your main goal, which is the gratification, like that is dope. I feel like you get like extra points for that. You know what I mean? Like you do, because again, like people, like you said, the word corny. Some people were just corny, and it's just like when you're not, and it's just I'm listening to, I'm like, oh snap, I'm enjoying the music, but I'm hearing a message as well. Yeah. That means so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean so much.
Definitely. I actually wanted to bring up as well, because I know you said off pod, I'm going to botch how you said it, but you said that, how exactly did you say it?
A Christian is who I am, not what I do.
Right. I like how you said that too. That was a very powerful statement. Can you kind of explain that a little bit?
Absolutely. Sometimes I don't mind the term, Christian rapper, Christian artist, or Christian clothing line. I don't mind that term. But Christian is who I am. I mean, I love Jesus. Like that's who I am. That's not necessarily what I do. If I slap you, you're not gonna say a Christian slap you. You're gonna say this slapped me.
Right.
Yeah. This guy slapped me. This, you know what I'm saying? So it's like when it comes to my craft or my ministry, why does it have to be Christian? Right? And I get, as far as like the analytics, sometimes you have to identify.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I understand it, but when it comes to just certain, like I said, I don't like the stereotype that comes with that.
Absolutely.
I don't like he's a Christian rapper. Yeah, put him at 2:00. No, I want to be at 7 prime time too. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that I know what I bring, not in a boastful or arrogant way, but I just know what I can bring, and I know what I'm trying to do. And sometimes as Christians, our light shines so much in the room that we don't shine enough out there. And the Bible talks about being a light. And it's like how, if all of us are in the room and the house is dark, the building is dark, some of us need to go out there. And so that's why I like making the type of music I make, where it is like trench talk. It's like raunchy. I was born and raised in Inglewood, so Sundays I'm at church listening to Kurt Carr. But then when I get out of church, we got Chief Keef and Billionaire Black, and we got all these guys that I listen to. So when it comes to my music, it's like all in there. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just don't like the term when it comes to the stereotype. Now, if you're trying to identify, that makes sense. However, if it's like, oh, he's a Christian rapper, no, we're gonna put him on that show. No, I want to be on the show with the hottest rapper. You know what I'm saying? So
I get it. I definitely get it.
So I wanted to say, like, kind of building off of that, what is your ultimate message and motivation behind the music that you make, the person that you are? Like, what is that? Like, what is that main thing that you would want to share to the world? Like, this is who I am for sure, and this is what I stand for.
Yeah, I'm Ken. I born and raised south side of Chicago. Didn't always do it right. Won't always do it right. But God loves me and I love him. And I'm going to try. And it's okay to mess up. I messed up so much that I got to the point where sometimes I felt like, God, I can't even pray to you right now. Like, I literally said that recently. God, look, you don't want to hear me. I know you don't want to hear me. You know what I'm saying? Like, these folks don't really know me. You don't want to hear me. You get what I'm saying? You know my heart. You don't want to hear me. But it's like those moments that I just want people to know, like, it's okay. He still wants to hear you. Actually, if I can arguably say, at that moment, he wants to hear you the most because you're at your vulnerablest. You're at your weakest. You're at your most delicate. You know what I'm saying? He told Paul, like, in your weakness, then I can show my strength. But when you strong, you don't need me to be strong because your strength is temporary. His is eternal. So it's like, just that's what I want people to know. Like, God, you don't have to change for God to love you. He actually loves you just the way you are.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's my message, bro.
Well, let's talk about some of the recent music that you had out.
Back to I Need Jesus.
Back to I Need Jesus.
Yes. Um, what was the thought process behind that?
So I Need Jesus pretty much came from a place, like I said, this year's been weird, bro.
Mhm.
Like, I had ideas, I had plans, I had thoughts, and it just completely like 180. Like, this year, it's like everything that I thought was gonna happen didn't happen, and everything I did think was gonna happen, um, let me say that better. Everything that I wanted to happen didn't. The things I really didn't want to happen did. So I got to the place where, like, God, that's not the problem. I'm the problem. I need Jesus. And so that's pretty much where it came from. And it's like a fun bop, but it's a serious thing. Like, I really need you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I know you were telling us off pod about how your diversity of genre is
Mhm.
kind of vast. You
Yeah.
know, you rap, you have some songs that have a pop kind of bop, you have
Mhm.
some that have an R&B kind of feel to it.
Mhm.
And you were telling us about an R&B song. I think you said that it was 51 on Apple Music. Was it
Mhm.
Tenderness?
Mhm.
Tell us about that. Can you go into some backstory about Tenderness?
So tenderness came like maybe 2019. Me and Jaleel, we was in the studio. I actually was uh I don't know. We was writing a lot of music then. I was in the studio like every week. I'm not
Okay.
gonna lie to you, bro. And I just remember writing this. I always want a R&B song that or R&B music that I can listen to. Like, I got involved into, like, in the course with women at 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got involved very early. And so it didn't help that Trey Songz and Chris Brown had the best R&B at that time. you know. So when I would go on dates and I'm like 15, 16, and I'm taking my lady out or I'm going to school, I know I'm gonna see my girlfriend. It's like, okay, I gotta play Tank. I gotta play these records that, no shade. I love them. I still listen to them, but it's like a time I can listen to them. I didn't really have no clean R&B music that still was a vibe, that still had the harmonies and the riffs and the message, or that still sexy feel, but that just was clean. It didn't talk about taking
Absolutely.
panties off and what I'm gonna do to you and all of that stuff. So that was my motivation. I wanted to give my little brothers and people that come behind me, or even people older than me, something to listen to that, you ain't gotta always, because for some people we're stronger than others. So some people can listen to that stuff and be good. However, I'm not that strong. Me and my ladies can't just look. She can't be laying on me and I'm listening to when we because you know what I'm saying, I'm just not that strong. And so to be real, and that's another thing, just being real on where you are
Mhm.
and what's the goal. And so you're making music for that, like, tenderness just came from that and permission.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's like important because I used to always be like, man, like I want music that I can play in front of like my mom and my
Yeah.
grandma and not like be
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like having that sort of R&B that you can play in front of anybody that anybody can enjoy, young to old, it just means a lot. And I think that's like a part of music that doesn't get enough attention, and not only enough attention, it just doesn't get enough volume of songs
Yeah.
where you can play this in front of anybody and you're like, okay, and it's a vibe, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? That's very important.
For sure.
And so I know in talking that you have a song that is coming out soon.
Yeah.
Um, Tell us about that and give us a little bit of insight and what that is, when it's coming out, and where we can get it from.
So Twins Prayer is a song that I think it's like one of the realest songs I wrote. I've heard like I never say the best because it's like I heard it's like having kids. You can't say like this is my favorite song or this is my
Okay.
favorite kid. It's like no, all of them are your kids, but some just you just love at more at times
They
because
hit
they
different.
yeah they
Yeah.
hit different at times. And Twins Prayer is just that. I got twins on the way, bro. And
Wow.
so it was like a moment.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man. Thank
Congratulations.
you, man. It's just like a moment where I'm like, God, I know the judgment that comes with this. I know the wrong that I did that comes with this. So let me get this out the way for you. And I'm just letting them listen, kind of giving you a scenario, not just what happened verbatim, but just where I'm at, trying to create this picture.
Kind of like my life. You know what I'm saying? Putting everything in that one song. It's like what I've been dealing with, what I've dealt with before. Maybe all of it isn't like verbatim, but it's just like stuff that I've dealt with years ago and stuff like that. And so Twin Spirit is going to be one of the realest records. Like one of the most, everybody that I've played it for is just like, wow. Even you in the car was just like, you couldn't get it out. And it's not,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying it as far as like it's good for me. I'm just saying it's like I've never been so real.
Mhm.
And I don't know a lot of, sometimes as Christians, sometimes as artists who's Christians and then identify as Christian artists, you have to, like, you can do wrong, just don't talk about it. Like, let them bring it up. Or if they don't bring it up, you definitely don't bring it up. Like, you go to church and they sit down the girl who got pregnant. They keep the drummer that got her pregnant on the drums because you just don't want that look. You don't want that to be seen.
Exactly.
And as a minister or as I'm a drummer, I play with two churches, or as an artist, who goes to churches and sometimes ministers, it's like I wanted to be seen and be known that I messed up. And the thing about God is He's forgiven me, but I don't want to use ministry. Not always pretty. My pastor told me that recently. He was like, ministry isn't always cute. Sometimes in ministry, you mess up and it's ugly. But ministry isn't always finished at that point. Ministry develops, dang, didn't he just have kids? But then God used him to do this? Or his kids was this, you know what I'm saying? Like if you look at even the Bible, a lot of the mess that happened turned into something beautiful. And so that's really what Twin Spirit came out of, bro.
Absolutely.
So it'll be available on July 7th.
Okay. Okay, absolutely.
And the kids definitely are going to humble you no matter what. You know what I mean? Down to the core.
Yeah.
When I had my daughter, man, I just became a softie. I mean,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, man. In moments, everything's cool, but man, it's almost undescribable. You know what I mean? And I didn't even know I was going to have a girl. Every guy wants a little boy,
Right.
But man, when you have a girl, you realize the mistakes that you made, not in the sense that because she's here,
Right.
but because, man, in this world that we live in right now, I gotta protect her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just,
It's crazy.
yeah, it's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah, and I think it's important that in that song you are so vulnerable and so open, and people just don't hear that side.
Yeah.
People don't hear that I messed up, but I'm here, and I'm sorry, and that is so important for people to hear, and so important to have out there. So I'm really excited. I know the song is gonna, do great, and I just can't wait till it's available and everybody can listen to the full version for sure. So what are you up to as well? Other things? You have any shows coming up? You have anything else you want to kind of promote and talk about that you got going on?
Yeah, so we actually just we do a lot of stuff with So Far Sounds.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if you ever heard of So Far, but So Far is like an organization that puts together. It's actually from London.
Mm-hmm.
They're in like 400 cities.
Okay.
And they pretty much just put together some like secret shows for people.
Okay.
Sometimes it's big festivals, or sometimes they partner with big things. Most of the time it's like, sometimes 50 people in a room and they just want secret shows. And so we do a lot of stuff with So Far. The tricky thing with So Far, shout out to So Far. The tricky thing with So Far is you don't really know where they are. You know the area, but you don't really know where they are until like a week before.
Okay.
And so I can't say where they'll be, but if you go to KennaMessenger.com or just follow me on all socials, Kenna Messenger, I'll keep you updated.
Okay.
But right now, man, I'm just getting ready for these twins, bro.
Okay.
I'm getting ready for the twins. Like, I'm working more as far as music. I'm doing a lot more because I don't want, when they get here, I want to be able to put everything on autopilot, like, and just still grow and still connect. But I low key, y'all ever seen them TikTok dads?
Yeah.
I think I want to be like a TikTok dad.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, I think I want to be like, and especially because they're twins, like I can make them play with each other and, fight each other, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Hug each other. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I be seeing all this stuff on TikTok, so I'm like, man, maybe I could be like a TikTok dad. So.
Those family channels are no joke, man.
Bro, yes.
They're making more money than I can count.
Yes.
Well, I have one more question that I really want to hear an answer from you for, and I was gonna ask, what would you say to an audience of non-believers that would entice them to give your music a spin?
What I would say is, man, I'm just like you. You know what I'm saying? I'm a guy from Inglewood who was born in church, but also born in reality. You know what I'm saying? And I love Jesus, and like I said, he loved me. And in my music, I don't try to Bible thump. You know what I'm saying? I try to share what I can share. But that's just like in my everyday life. Like, I don't want y'all to not talk how you talk or not
Right.
be who you are. Like, I want you to be who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's who you are. If you ever think about or read the Bible, um, Jesus never, the people that hung with Jesus were crazy.
Right.
Paul was a murderer. Abraham was something. What was Abraham? A liar. Uh, uh, what happened? Moses was a murderer. Paul was a murderer. Peter had a temper. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are people that, well, not Moses, but uh just the people that was with Jesus. It's like, he got penalized or talked about for hanging with sinners and eating with sinners, you know what I'm saying? But he was the light. And I got to the point, even right now what I do in like in the community of guys that I'm with, or like Discord, you know, side note, if you wanna join the Discord, go to Kenna Messenger on social media and talk to me. I'm gonna see the link. But just now I'm building a community where we can just like be ourselves. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But in being ourselves, like if you see something like, bro, today I'm struggling with lust. Like I met this girl at work, or uh, I've been tripping. You know what I'm saying? Or bro, I just can't stop drinking. I can't put the bottle down. That's something I can say I understand. I had that happen before where I just could not stop drinking. Or anything that's just in that arena, bro. It's just like we normal people. He didn't come here to condemn us. And if he's the only one that's eligible to condemn and he doesn't condemn, why do we think we can condemn each other?
Right.
And so I would just tell him that, like, hey, give it a listen if you want to listen. If you don't, God bless you.
Kind of got it together around, I would say like May, maybe April. As far as like mentally, like grasping everything that's happening, the kids, the twins, just certain situations. And so, one thing that helped me, and I'm gonna share it in case it helps somebody else, is like get back up. It sounds so cliche. It sounds so easy, but when you're in that situation where you felt like you hit rock bottom and the only thing under there is nothing, it's like you gotta get back up, bro. Like you can't allow what people think. You can't even allow what yourself thinks. Sometimes, like I'm the problem. I'm my worst enemy. I talk about me worse than anybody could ever talk about me. Like, are you dumb? Are you slow? Are you stupid? You know what I'm saying? Like you have those moments with yourself, but you just have to realize, like even against yourself, he still got you. You know what I'm saying? Every time you get up in the morning, think about that as another chance. That's how I look at it. If he wake me up in the morning, he looked literally was like, come on, try again. That's how I look at it. And so the fact that I woke up this morning and it was no goodness of my own, I know I can't wake myself up. That's my sign that it's going to be okay. And the Bible even talks about it in Romans 8:28. It says, for we know that all things work together for the good of those who love God and are called. And I feel like, as long as you love him, he called you, it's going to work together for the good. And so don't allow whatever y'all going through, if you're going through something, maybe it's not now, maybe it's for next year, just don't allow that to let you hit rock bottom and stay there. Because you probably hit it, but you ain't got to stay there.
Thank you, Ken, for coming on, seriously. And I hope you come on again. I hope we get to see you again and let us know what's going on with the secret shows or whatever, man. We'll be there. We'll pull up.
Absolutely.
Definitely show some support, man.
So I've been doing this thing on my Instagram where I just pray for certain things. Y'all mind if I just pray for y'all people, whoever watching?
Absolutely.
All right, God, we thank you so much for this day. First of all, Father, we ask that you forgive us of anything that we said, done, or thought that wasn't like you, God. We ask that you just keep us. We thank you so much for this opportunity that I met some new brothers here, God, that we can just be everything that you called us to be for people that's watching and that's dealing with anything that's similar to what we talked about today. Maybe it's depression, maybe it's suicide, maybe it's just low self-esteem, maybe it's just anxiety. God, we know that you told us that we can give you all of our cares because you care that much about us, that you'll help us through it. So we thank you for this time. I ask that you bless this podcast. Thank you that they haven't even seen everything that you're going to do, that you blow their minds, that you get the glory out of all of our lives. In Jesus' name we pray.
God, I'm talking to you. I'm just letting them listen. For real. Yeah. See, I would like to start this off by repenting. Forgive me of my sins for them times I was tripping. Let everyone who listen understand I've been forgiven. And I kinda get it if they never really get it. See, it's a difference when you in this position. Need your grace and mercy for real, I'm not kidding. Especially with my walk in life and these women. I know that I apologize while still sinning, like when I was in the back.